Right now, Governor Evers proposes a plan to legalize recreational marijuana in Wisconsin, why he says it would only help the state moving forward.
And a new Glarus house built for people with disabilities is now open. We'll take you inside the state-of-the-art building.
Didn't matter what the symptoms were. You were expected to do your job, period.
And later, a Beloit restaurant worker is dead after a COVID-19 outbreak. Why advocates say food workers have been overlooked for protection during the pandemic.
This is News 3 Now at 10.
One more snap, would you have guessed when this impossible season was trying to launch that you'd get it all in, you'd get to Tampa, and when the Super Bowl ended, the ball would be in the hands of Tom Brady.
Tom Brady on top of the football world once again. Brady's Buccaneers top Patrick Mahomes of the Kansas City Chiefs 31-9 tonight in Super Bowl 55 in Tampa.
We will have highlights from the game and get to the rest of our top stories in just a moment. But the bitter cold we've been feeling all week isn't going anywhere anytime soon. Here's a live look at the Capitol from our Edgewater Sky Cam. A lot of alert days in the forecast. So let's get a look at your first warned weather with Chief Meteorologist Gary Canalti.
Well, the picture looks nice, but it is cold out here, especially in the backyard. Fortunately, I'm just a few steps away from the door, but at least there's not much wind here. There are a few snow flurries falling over southern Wisconsin. Looks like most of those are passing through the Madison area. A few more moving into far southwestern Wisconsin. Low temperatures this morning, we dropped to 15 below zero here in Madison. It was 20 below zero in La Crosse and even colder up in northern Wisconsin. High temperatures right around zero, give or take a degree or two, and right now we've dropped to 2 below here in Madison. At least the winds aren't as brisk as they were last night, so not much of a wind chill right now. Places that are seeing a wind chill are seeing that in the mid-teens below zero. By tomorrow morning, look for temperatures to drop to around 8 below zero. Look for a high of only 6 tomorrow with a slight chance of flurries continuing. The bitter cold is in the forecast through the end of the week and into the start of the following week. I'll have more details and weather in just a few minutes.
Governor Tony Evers wants to legalize recreational marijuana in Wisconsin. He says the state needs to treat that the way it treats alcohol. In his 2021-23 biennial budget, Evers is proposing Wisconsin regulate and tax cannabis.
He says the money that comes from sales would fund underserved communities and rural schools. Gabriella Becerra explains why some lawmakers feel this proposal is a long time coming.
This isn't the first time Governor Tony Evers proposed in a state budget that Wisconsin profit off of marijuana sales. But with new leadership in the Senate, the question remains if it will grow into something more. In a press release, Evers says, quote, frankly, red and blue states across the country have moved forward with legalization, and there is no reason Wisconsin should be left behind when we know it's supported by a majority of Wisconsinites. He's referring to a 2019 Marquette University Law School poll that found nearly 60% of people support legalizing marijuana for recreational use in Wisconsin. When talking about legalizing the drug for medical reasons, support goes up to about 83%.
We know that people in Wisconsin want us to treat cannabis in the same way that we treat alcohol. And it's past time that we tax and regulate it and bring it in to our policy making.
Democratic State Senator Melissa Agard has introduced and co-sponsored bills to regulate the drug in many sessions with no luck. Now she says she's relieved to see Evers include it in his budget.
In the conversations that I have been having over the last 8 years or so, my Republican colleagues, who are the ones that are in control of the legislature, are behind the 8 ball. And it's not a matter of if this is going to happen, it's a matter of when it's going to happen.
Evers' proposal says Wisconsin residents 21 and older would be able to purchase and possess up to 2 ounces of marijuana and 6 plants, while non-residents can only get a quarter of an ounce. The Department of Revenue and Department of Agriculture, Trade, and Consumer Protection would tax and regulate all sales. In Madison, Gabriella Becerra, News 3 Now.
Now, we reached out to some of the Republicans in the state legislature and Senate who have historically disagreed with legalizing marijuana in Wisconsin. We have yet to receive a response.
If it legalizes recreational marijuana, Wisconsin would become the 16th state to do so. That includes neighboring Michigan and Illinois. Amanda Quintana joins us now with how legalization has benefited those states.
In Governor Evers' announcement today, he says he expects taxes generated from marijuana sales in Wisconsin to add up to more than $165 million each year starting in 2023. That's a little more than what we're seeing in neighboring states right now. Illinois brought in more than $582 million in revenue last year, its first year with legalized marijuana. The state saw $150 million in taxes from cannabis sales. In Michigan, marijuana sales brought in nearly $73 million in taxes over its first 12 months. Cannabis stores sold about $440 million in product in about a year at a 16.6% sales excise and sales tax. Evers did not say at what percentage he'd like to see weed taxed here. But he did say he wants to set aside $80 million of that money he's expecting to see and invest that back into communities. That fund would provide $30 million to equity grants, $5 million for underserved communities, and more than $34 million for small rural school districts.
Amanda, thank you. For the first time in 18 years, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are the Super Bowl champions.
Sports director Zach Hanley joins us now to break down the Bucs' dominant win.
Guys, it's the Tom Brady effect, right? The cool part about this year's game was that the Bucs were the first team in NFL history to play the Super Bowl in their home stadium. Former Badger Russell Wilson watching the game, and he saw Brady put on a clinic. First quarter, 12, hits his BFF Rob Gronkowski. Shades of their old Patriot days. Gronk caught 2 touchdowns in the first half, and then right before halftime, Brady throws another, this time to Antonio Brown. That was the ball game. Bucs win Super Bowl 55, 31-9.
You know, being down here and experiencing it with this group of guys is every year is amazing, and this team is world champions forever. You can't take it away from us. So I think we knew this was going to happen tonight, didn't we? We ended up playing our best game of the year.
Brady was named the Super Bowl MVP for the 5th time in his career. It's the 7th world championship he's won. That's more than any NFL team has. Think about that for a second. Brady also said he's coming back for next year to try for number 8.
DHS is reporting 671 new coronavirus cases in Wisconsin over the past day. That is the fewest in any day except Christmas since September 7th. It comes as the 7-day positivity rate trends downward, now just above 1,000 cases per day. 2 more people have died, while more than 760,000 vaccine doses have been distributed. DHS officials say 164,000 people have received both doses of the shot. That is about 2.8% of the state's total population.
President Biden spending the weekend at home in Delaware. He went to Mass this morning at St. Joseph's on the Brandywine Roman Catholic Church. That's where he regularly attends services in Wilmington. House Democrats on Capitol Hill are working on the president's COVID relief package over the weekend. They plan on introducing a $3,000 per child benefit for families as part of the proposed stimulus. Leaders are expected to unveil the plan tomorrow. The legislation would provide $3,600 per child under the age of 6 and $3,000 per child ages 6 through 17.
A brand new apartment complex in New Glarus is changing lives for families all across the state.
Adam Duxter got the inside look and explains how an idea became a reality.
Well, on the surface, Prairie House in New Glarus might look like your typical apartment complex.
She's got a kitchen area.
Every piece of it
Got this really nice living room area.
Was purposefully designed.
When I first walked in the building, it didn't hit me. It took a little while for it to hit me, and then look around and realize, oh my gosh, we did what we set out to do.
Years ago, Mary Ann Omakin and Susan Wallich had an idea, driven out of necessity and worry, about where their adult children with special needs could live when they were no longer able to care for them. And after years of fundraising and construction, an answer.
Wonderful. It's what every young person wants, I think, is independence. And we're seeing it happen, and it's happening in an even more exciting and spectacular way than we ever could have imagined.
Based on core principles like inclusivity, affordability, and closeness to home, Prairie House offers 40 units aimed to give those with disabilities a home of their own. After breaking ground in December of 2019,
this space is the place for large gatherings.
It's now opening to its very first full-time residents. A portion of its rooms fully ADA accessible with custom sensory areas, open around the clock to full-time caretakers. It's an answered prayer for parents who have spent years wondering, including the very 2 behind the plan.
My son moved in about 8 weeks ago, And we anticipated that he's 29 years old. He's never lived any place but at home with I and my husband, his dad. And we anticipated it was going to be really rough transitioning him to his own apartment. And it was absolutely the opposite. He was so ready. He was so excited.
And while fundraising and navigating such a brand new project was at times difficult, both its creators couldn't be more proud to provide full-time homes to families and individuals who need them.
When we started this project, in my mind, I had sort of a vision of dream tenants in the building. And I would say that watching the mix that has come in is really closely matching what I personally was hoping it would be.
In New Glarus, Adam Duxter, News 3 Now.
In addition to housing for those with disabilities, the Prairie House Apartments prioritize affordable housing. The two co-creators say they're planning a grand opening ceremony when it is safe to hold one this summer. And there's more to come. On News 3 Now at 10, we'll share the story of a Beloit restaurant worker whose death is being linked to a coronavirus outbreak. It's a special News 3 investigation.
Plus, alert days in the forecast through next weekend as the bitter cold sticks around. Gary has your first warn forecast next.